Ooh, I think I am live. Think I am live. See what happens. Let's see what happens. Nobody currently in, but just wait and see what happens. I mean, I very rarely go live this early in the afternoon. I usually do it later in the evening. But I've got nothing to do. I just thought to kind of waste an hour or so and just, do a live stream, because I haven't done a live stream on this channel for quite a while. I haven't done a live stream on this channel for quite a while. I did a live stream. I did a live stream about probably a couple of weeks ago, I think, on my vlog channel. But that was literally the last one I did. Oh, looks like we've got my good friend Sammy in the chat. Excuse me a second. Sammy! Hey, John. Hope you are doing... hope you're having a good weekend. I am, thank you very much. Yeah, it's just been a chilled one. I've just been enjoying a little bit of the World Cup. Each to their own, of course. Not everybody's into sport, I get it. But no, I've been watching some of the matches that for the opening of the World Cup. So that's pretty much been my viewing on TV, really. I've been watching some films and stuff. I watched. Finally got around to watching the latest Stephen King film, The Long Walk. Well, I say a Stephen King film. It's based on one of his books. But yeah, I just watched The Long Walk, which is adapted from Stephen King's one of his novels. But yeah, so just watched him, watched that. So just watched that. That was I actually quite enjoyed it. Actually, I actually really did quite enjoy it. I thought it was an interesting film. It was a very simple premise. All it is just a group of young lads having to do this long walk and only one will make the end. And yeah, it was pretty brutal, really. It definitely had an atmosphere about it, because you don't quite realise, because it starts off real cheery. It starts off all the lads having a bit of a laugh, having a bit of camaraderie, and some of them not really getting on with one another. And you start to kind of get this kind of relationship between the lads, and then it just starts to go kind of like gets a lot more serious. It starts getting really serious after that, which is really cool. I mean, I actually quite liked it. I thought The Long Walk was a decent film. I wouldn't say it's probably one of my favourites based on his books, because I think when it comes to Stephen King adaptations, my favourite is The Green Mile, the film The Green Mile. That is probably one of the best films I've ever seen, based on Stephen King. And my second favourite is probably The Shining, or The Shining, however you want to pronounce it. That would probably be my second favourite of adapted from one of his books. But no, The Long Walk, I actually quite enjoyed it. It's definitely a simple film. Also, Mark Hamill. I didn't realise Mark Hamill was the general, the guy on the back of the truck ordering, saying orders to people. I didn't realise it was Mark Hamill until he started speaking, and he put on some kind of. I could kind of hear the Mark Hamillisms in his voice slightly, but yet he was putting on a real gruff voice. And then I started looking at him more and more, and I was like, yeah, that's Mark Hamill. That is Mark Hamill in a feature film, besides Star Wars. But yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. We have Mr. Joshimus Prime. I saw The Long Walk with a friend of mine. It was pretty good and brutal. Yeah, I never went to see it at the cinema. It was a film that I saw the trailer for, and I did want to go and see it and, go and watch it on the big screen at the cinema, but it just didn't happen. I just didn't get around to doing it, and I just noticed it went up on Prime Video, and so it went up on Prime Video as free to watch with your subscription. So I gave it a shot last night, the other night, Friday night. I gave it a shot. No, was it? No, it was Thursday night. I watched that. I think it was Thursday night. Yeah, like late Thursday night. So yeah, I watched that, and I was actually more surprised with it because I thought the performances of the actors was really good. When it starts getting really serious, you can genuinely they sell that really, really well. They really sell it well. I mean, all it is just a group of lads walking. That is literally all the film is. It's just a group of lads walking this trail with troops, like with guns pointed to their heads. And that's literally all it is. But yeah, it's not about that. It's about them starting to kind of like facing their demons. They are quite literally facing their demons. You know, the demon is the general on the back of the truck with the guns to the heads. That's the demon, and they are literally having to face the mistakes that they've made in their lives. Maybe they've been in young offenders or something. Maybe they've stolen something. Maybe they've killed somebody. I don't know. There could be whatever. Each of them lads had a story. Each of them lads had a background of why they were there, and it was all televised. It was done as like a real brutal sport over TV all across America and so on. And it was all about, you know, whoever wins, they will get this, they will get that, you know, whatever they wish for, they can have, and they can have money, they can do whatever. And, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was quite surprised by it. It's a good film. I recommend it. But yeah, I hope everybody's well on this Saturday. It is pretty overcast here where I live. Pretty overcast at the moment. I have literally nothing else to do. I haven't done a live stream on this channel for a while, and I thought to rectify that issue and finally get a live stream out on my main channel. I've kind of neglected this channel a bit. I am uploading now and again, like regular videos. But I uploaded my latest Transformers review model kit build yesterday. I uploaded that yesterday, which was my review of YOLO Park AMK series G1 Starscream. So I upload. That was my latest review on the channel, my TF Nosy channel. So that was my latest review. So yeah, I uploaded that yesterday, last night, early hours. I think it was late last night. I uploaded that. So I am steadily still uploading to the channel. However, I have neglected this channel in some respects, where I feel a lot of my focus has kind of shifted to my second channel, my Nosy Vlogs channel, because, you know, I have kind of neglected my YouTube on both sides. So on both of my channels, I've been really pretty quiet with them, because I kind of got a little bit burnt out. Like late last year, beginning of this year, I started getting a little bit of burnout with making videos. And then I had a little bit of a break, and then I just started to upload again. And then but yeah, it's just I'm just trying to find a balance, get like a steady stream on both channels, like at least upload once or twice a week if I can. I have got some plans for my main channel. I have neglected my TF Nation related videos. I haven't really done anything in relation to TF Nation 2026. I usually do information videos. That is just my thing. When an upcoming event is happening, I did it for TFN Manchester back in March, and I always do it for the main one in August. July/August for this year. So I want to try and rectify that and try and get back onto doing my TF Nation related videos, like my information videos. I thought I'd spoken a bit I thought I'd done some at least, but looking back on my channel, I can't see that I've even spoken or done anything in relation to TF Nation 2026, except for my response to Tony, son of S3-1. He did his TF Nation questions, and I did a response to that. But that's literally the only kind of TFN 2026 video I've done so far. So we'll see. Mr. Joshimus Prime says, if there was a time where the Cybertron games came back for the PS5 and Xbox X and XS, would you play the games with your subscribers? Ooh, that's a good question. I have wanted to do play-alongs or gameplay-related videos. I just don't have the means to do so at the moment. Because you need like you need some kind of game capture card or something like that, and I don't know how it works with PS5s at the moment, so I'll have to look into it. I have a PS5, by the way, so I would like to do some like gameplay related videos, because I noticed there's a few people that I know, friends of mine, that have started to do gameplay related videos just for a bit of a laugh. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to promise anything. It just depends whether I can actually figure out how I can do it and get any equipment that I need in order to do it. You can sort of like share what you're playing on a PS5, but it's very limited. So in order to get like a full-on like walkthrough or a full-on gameplay related video, you need some kind of capture card of some degree in order to be able to record what you're doing in the game, and also be able to edit it and so on and so forth for whatever. So I'll have to look into that. But definitely, if they ever did re-release the Cybertron games, they were fantastic games, by the way. So if they ever did re-release those games on like a new console, the PS5 or the new Xbox, I would definitely be all over buying them again. Because I did have them for the PS3, I think there was on. I think they were the PS3 when they first came out, PS3. So I had all of them. I had all the Cybertron games. I loved them. I thought they were brilliant. They really do deserve to be back out there so people can appreciate them again, because you can't really play them properly anymore. You can't really buy them. It's only just very recently that there's been a little bit of talk about possibly getting like a remaster or them getting re-released or something, because there's still a big appreciation for those games. So we'll see. I mean, if they do happen to get re-released, then I would definitely be all over it. I definitely will be all over buying them again. Andy Prime says, hi, hope you are doing well. I'm not bad, thank you. Not doing bad at all, really. Just one of those days, when you just don't know what to do with yourself. I think we've all been there, to be honest. I think we've all been there at some point in our lives. We don't know what to do with ourselves. I woke up a little bit late. I didn't wake up early. I woke up like early afternoon, around about 1ish this afternoon. I had a little bit of a sleep in, because I had a bit of a late night last night. I didn't go to bed until about 4 this morning. I think it was about 4:30 this morning, because I was watching the football. I was watching the World Cup, USA versus Paraguay, which kicked off around about 2 o'clock this morning. I think it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock for the coverage. So I stayed up watching the USA's first opening game, and so I watched that. And I ended up going to bed I ended up falling asleep at about, what was it? I ended up falling asleep at about nearly 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. So it was a late one. So you can kind of understand why I kind of slept in a little bit today. I didn't get up real early. I was gonna actually go for a bit of a walk around Hull. I was gonna go into Hull city centre, go for a bit of a walk around the shops. I was contemplating of whether to get myself an England shirt, which is I'm contemplating whether to get myself one of them, but it hasn't happened. And to be quite honest, I can't really quite afford the price of an England shirt at the moment. even though I'd like one, but the price of them are a bit extortionate because they're like nearly 90 quid a shirt for the official one for 2026. The 2026 edition shirt is like £89, which is a little bit extortionate if you ask me. That is a bit much for a football shirt. I mean, I don't mind paying about 50 or 60 quid, which is about normal for a normal club shirt. Well, at least the prices for the teams I support, they're roughly about between 50 to 60 quid for a brand new one. But the football shirt for England is like 90 quid a shirt. It's like, what the hell's going on there, man? That is a bit much. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not in a big rush. We'll just see how well England do first. We haven't even played our first opening game for the World Cup yet. That's coming up on Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, this coming Thursday is our first opening game. Andy Prime says, I've tried playing the Transformers games, but I suck at them. I prefer playing Lego games. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not the best gamer in the world. To be honest, I die a lot more than I should probably. I'm not the best. I'm not the most confident of gamers. There are certain games I am better at than others. I've always been good at my arcade games, which are like your arcade fighter games, like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive, games like that where you basically 1v1, basically just a brawler, just fighting your opponents and working your way through the story and everything or whatever. Those games I've always been really good at. I've always been able to pick them up pretty quickly, and all the combination moves and stuff like that. I've always been really good at those. Also, racing games. I used to be a big fan of the Gran Turismo games when I was a kid. So the Gran Turismo type games, I've always really liked my driving games. So I've always been pretty good at them. Sometimes it depends on when it comes to a shooter, like a first-person shooter. I used to play a bit of Call of Duty games. I haven't played many, but I have played a couple of them. It depends on the game. I mean, one of the only kind of shooter, game that I actually did really, really good in, or I seem to play without any real massive problems. Does anybody remember the Killzone games? It was a video game franchise or series called Killzone, and all the bad guys are in like what all I can describe as like almost like stormtrooper suits, but they were like black with red eyes, like red visors. And you basically just go around just like shooting these like evil soldiers and all that. And I think it was called Killzone. And I remember when I was a kid, I rented one of the Killzone games because we had a video game rental shop similar to Blockbuster, but it wasn't Blockbuster. It was like similar. It was called Apollo, I think it was. And then before Apollo closed, they started to offer renting video games. So they did PlayStation. I can't remember if they did any other console, but I remember they did at least PlayStation, the PS2 and it was back in the day of PS2, I think. Yeah, it was around about PS2 days when they were offering you could rent video games through them. So yeah, I rented Killzone, and I completed the whole game. I think you could rent them for 5 days ago. I think you could rent them for about 5 days. So basically, like most times when you rent something, you only get a couple days. So if you rented a film, you had like maybe 2, maybe 3 days in order to return it. But with video games, I think they gave you about 5. I think it was about 5 days until you had to return it back to them. So basically I So yeah, basically, I rented Killzone, played it, and I completed it within. I completed it in like 2 days. That is the first game, and that is the fastest time that I've ever completed a game from start to finish. And I gave it, I went back in 2 days later, and I'd like to return this, please. And she was like, "Oh, have you played it?" The person behind the desk was like, "Have you played it? You get up to you do know you get about 5 days until you have to bring it back." I went, "Oh no, I've completed it." And this person was like, "You completed this game in just 2 days. You don't know this is probably this game is like some people are struggling to play this one." And I was like, "Really?" That was for games that I've played, and I struggle with video games. I am not the best. I'm not the most competent of gamers, but according to the person behind the desk, I managed to complete the game in like just like a little shy of 2 days. I think it was like a day and a half. I completed the game. Hey, Henry, my good friend Henry, it just says, "Can you remember Wolf 3D? Probably well before your time." No, I don't actually. Is that a video game? It probably might be a video game. No, I don't. I don't recall Wolf 3D. I do have a pretty good memory. I know it's like most stuff is before my time, anyways. But um, Henry says yes, yes. So it is a video game. Um, no, I'm not aware of that. Wolf 3D. Is anybody else in the chat aware of Wolf 3D as a video game? Um, no, it's just. I mean, I've got a pretty good well, I say knowledge, but I have got a pretty good like memory of like stuff that I grew up with because I used to have an old Atari. I used to have obviously I grew up with PlayStation mainly. I was mainly a PlayStation kid back in the 90s. The first console that I was ever bought for Christmas was I think it was for Christmas one year was the PS1. So I grew up playing the PlayStation really. I grew up playing the PlayStation, and then my dad got me an old Atari. I think it was I can't remember what the Atari was called, but it was an old Atari, and I basically started getting into like the old retro gaming, like Atari games, so such as like Centipede and Asteroids and those type of games that came on the old little cartridge. And then and then I got a PS2. So I was mainly PlayStation. And then oh no, I had a Sega. I had the Sega Master System as well. So I grew up with like Sonic the Hedgehog and a couple of other games. So the only consoles I have some prior knowledge for when I was a kid. Oh, you mean Wolfenstein? Oh, you mean Wolfenstein? With you saying Wolf 3D, I didn't know what you was meaning. I've heard of Wolfenstein. I haven't played that one though, no, but I have played a Wolfenstein game. I have played a Wolfenstein game, but it was a more recent one. I think it was on the PS4. There was a Wolfenstein game that came out for the PS4. I think it was, and that's the only one I've actually played for the Wolfenstein series. It was a good game though. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, so getting back on track of what I was saying, yeah, so prior the only prior thing that I have, like knowledge of video games when it comes to systems, like home systems, is PlayStation. So PS1, PS2. I also got the PS3 as well, but you know what I mean. So PlayStation, Sega, and Atari. They are the systems that I grew up with because they were the ones that my parents bought me. I unfortunately never got an Xbox 3. I never. Oh no, hang on. I unfortunately, when I was a kid, I never got the GameCube. I never got the N64. I never got anything like that. My parents didn't see the point. Unfortunately, my parents didn't see the point of me, even because literally, I remember when when the Nintendo 64 came out, and I was like, "Can I have a Nintendo 64, please, for my birthday or Christmas?" And my mum and dad were like, "What's the difference with it?" And I went, "Well, it's a Nintendo. It's a Nintendo 64." And it says, "Well, yeah, it does play. There are games similar to the games that are on the PlayStation. You can get for this Nintendo as well, but it's for Nintendo stuff like Mario and so on." But my parents were like, "What's the point? You've got a perfectly good console there. What's the point on us wasting money on an N64 when you just playing the same type of thing?" I'm like, "But it's the N64. It's not the same as the PlayStation." They just couldn't understand it. So unfortunately, I was stuck with, well, even though I don't have a problem being stuck with a PlayStation, but I would have really loved to have had access or to be able to actually have at least a couple of the other consoles as well. Because you had the Dreamcast. I never had a Dreamcast, unfortunately. So I never had the Dreamcast. I never had the N64. I never had. What else came out? No, not the Saturn. Yeah, the Saturn was a bit later, but what else came out back in the 90s, early 2000s? So you had the Dreamcast, N64. There's another one that I'm missing. Oh, GameCube. Yeah, GameCube. I never had the GameCube either. I'd love to have the GameCube. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel like I missed out in my childhood a little bit. My childhood into my early teens. I feel like I missed out quite a lot when it came to video game stuff because I only had exposure really to PlayStation and an old Atari and an old Sega, an older system. So that they were the only systems I had prior knowledge of. So I unfortunately never played anything else. However, I did get a GameCube Advance, a Game Boy Advance. I remember getting a Game Boy Advance. That was the only Nintendo system from when I was a child. That was my only. So from when I was a kid, that was my only. That was my only Nintendo system I had was the Game Boy Advance. I never had the original Game Boy, like the Game Boy Color or anything like that. I never had one of them, but I got the Game Boy Advance, and that was the only handheld console I had when I was a kid. So yeah. Anyway, let me get back to comments. The Collector 75. Hey all, how you doing, Graham? Hope you're doing well, my friend. How you doing? Sam's here. Says yes, Wolfenstein 3D was developed by the creators of Doom. Ah, now I get you. Yeah. Did you ever have a Commodore 64? No, I didn't. No. Anything like the Commodore 64 or the Spectrum or anything that was like computer based, like worked through a computer or floppy disk or something. I didn't have any. I never played any of those. They were a bit before my time, but I never had one. Yeah, I never had one. I've never played one either. I've never actually. I've never seen anyone. I've never been in the same room as a Commodore 64 or a Spectrum. So nobody that I know had one when I was a kid either. At least I don't remember anyway. But no, I never had a Spectrum or a Commodore 64, even though I would absolutely love to have one, or both of them systems. But I never had the Amiga as well, because there was the Amiga as well, wasn't there? Which was that on a cassette? I think the old Amiga, was that on a cassette system? Like it was like a cassette or something? I can't remember. Alpha Prime, how you doing? Hey everybody, how you doing, my friend? Hey, Tony, Son of Mr. One's here. You must have had a PS1. I did. That's what I was just talking about. I had the PS1, I had a PS2, I had a Game Boy Advance, and I had an old Atari. I can't remember the name of the Atari though. And I had a Sega Master System. They were my childhood consoles when I was back when I was a kid. Unfortunately, I never had the Amiga. I never had an N64. I never had the Dreamcast. I never had. Basically, I was mainly PlayStation, PlayStation, Sega, and Atari. They were the systems that I grew up with, and the Game Boy Advance. That was it. Unfortunately, my parents, like I was just saying a moment ago, my parents didn't really see the point of them spending or them getting me another console just to play similar games to what I was already playing. They didn't realize that Nintendo was a totally different brand, a totally different company compared to PlayStation. And you had like, obviously Mario stuff with the game with Nintendo. But yeah, they didn't get it. My parents didn't really get it, so unfortunately, my parents were a bit dead against me having anything but what I already had. They didn't see the point. They didn't see what the difference was between the systems. I did have an Xbox at one point, but I bought that myself. I remember going for me and my mum and my dad. We went for a day out at Whitby. I think we was on holiday. I think we'd gone on caravan. We've gone in the caravan somewhere. Went on a caravan holiday this was probably when I was in my teens. I think, when did I get the Xbox 360? I can't remember when I got it now, but I was definitely in my teens. So I think I might have been maybe about 15, maybe 15, 16. So I got the Xbox 360 pretty late. I didn't get it on launch. I got it pre-owned. I remember we went to Whitby for the day, and I went by the shop, and it sold like pre-owned, like fixed up. Basically if they had a problem, they were fixed. It was like one of those type of shops where there were old systems that are still in running order. So like pre-owned stuff. So it was like CEX before CEX is what we have now, CEX. It was similar kind of idea where it was basically DVDs, video games, all sorts of tech related stuff, but it was all like pre-owned. So it'd been like it managed to acquire this stuff and was like repurposed it and selling it. And in the window of this particular shop, I noticed an Xbox 360. I can't remember what the price was, but I had a little bit of money. I'd saved up some money to take with me, and I saw it, and I was like, "Ooh, an Xbox 360!" And I can't remember how much the price was, but it wasn't much. It wasn't real expensive, and it said it came with. It was the Xbox 360. It came with, I think, it came with the controller, power brick, all the cables. And then it came with, I think it came with about 3 video games. I think I got 3 games. I think one was Gears of War. I think the other one was, I can't remember now, but there was about 3 video games it came with. So you got the console, a controller, all the stuff that you would get in the box of a brand new one, and it came with 3 video games for a certain price. And I was like, oh, I've never had an Xbox. I've always wanted to give one a try. I've heard the 360 is actually really good. And so yeah, I bought it. So I had an Xbox 360 as well. So that was my first exposure to Xbox, because I never had the original Xbox, because I was going to get an Xbox the original Xbox. I was going to get one, but I heard a lot of horror stories about the disk drive. I had a lot of problems with like it overheating and the game starting to melt and all sorts of like stuff being going around about the Xbox. And there was also things going about with the Xbox 360 as well, because there were people saying that if you knocked it when the console was running, and say if you accidentally knocked into the console, it would kind of like the disc inside the drive would move, and you'd end up getting what you called the Ring of Death, which was basically it just engraved over time as the disc is spinning. It would engrave this like massive gash right into the game, and it would knacker the game up. I never had that happen to me, thankfully. I never had that happen to me. It never overheated either because I think with it, I think it came with like a fan accessory, so you plugged it in, so it helped with the cooling. Because I know the Xbox 360 had a bit of a problem with the cooling system. It generated a lot of heat, so they actually brought out an accessory that you plugged into it, and it kind of helped to vent it out a bit. Let me get back on track with the comments here. There's a lot of comments. Alpha Prime, how's your weekend going, mate? Not bad, thank you. Not too bad. I'm just a bit bored. When you're just in one of those moods where you just don't know what to do with yourself. So I thought to just kill a little bit of time, do a live stream, because I haven't done one on this channel for quite a while. So that's why I'm here. I'm enjoying the World Cup as well. I've been watching the World Cup matches. I was up until about 4:30 this morning watching USA versus Paraguay. Hence why I was a bit late up this afternoon. I slept in till about 1ish this afternoon, got up and pottered about the house, and I was like, what should I do? So I ended up doing this. No Amiga. Oh, Amiga was discs. I see. Yeah, I don't know. There was a. I remember there was an old console. I know was it the Commodore? I might be getting mixed up with Commodore and Spectrum, but there was at least there was some systems that used cassettes, wasn't they? They were like the game was on two-sided cassettes. The game was on a cassette, so you basically had side one, and then you'd have to take it out and turn it round and side two, and then obviously you had the floppy disk ones as well. Had games on floppy disk. I can't remember now. I'm getting a bit mixed up with my consoles because I remember there was some consoles that were cassette, and then there was some that were floppy disk and cartridge based. Because I remember cartridge as well. Best games on PS1. God, I can't. I'm trying to remember what I bloody played on the PS1. Obviously, GTA, the original Grand Theft Auto game, was a big favourite of mine as a kid. Where you're basically just like a bird's eye view of a little dude, and you're just running around in and out of cars. It was really basic, but it was fun. Crash Bandicoot, that was on the PS1, wasn't it? Was that on the? I'm trying to bloody remember what was on the PS1 now. It's been that long ago. You know what? I can't actually remember what was on the PS1. It's been that goddamn long ago since I played the PS1. I think the last time I played the PS1 was when the PS2 came out. Yeah. When I got the PS2, that was the last time I played the PS1 because I moved on to the PS2. So that was 2000, 1999, 2000 when the PS2 came out. So that's probably the last time I played the PS1. Yeah, that's going back a fair few years. Collect 75, Graham. Christ, the hours I spent playing the Spectrum after secondary school. Yeah, it's unfortunate, really, because I never had the exposure to those systems, unfortunately. I didn't know anybody that had one either. I never knew anybody or know anybody that had one. So I never had like a go on it or any exposure to it, which is unfortunate. Andy Prime says, I've had the Atari and then PlayStation ever since. Okay, cool. Nice. Tony says, I loved my ZX Spectrum. ZX. Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, obviously, compared to now, they are really ancient systems, but for the day, they were really cool. You know, like the Spectrum and the Commodore, they were both really cool systems. Really cool. But unfortunately, I never played either of them. Unfortunately, Henry says, "I'm showing my age by telling you that when I was at school, a computer could just fit inside a classroom. A pocket calculator was called an abacus. Abacus. Yeah. I know what you're on about with the abacus. Back at primary school, they actually still used abacuses. I'm not joking. At my primary school, back when I was about 5 or 6, I remember a teacher had one on the side, and I was like, "What the hell is that thing?" And it was an abacus. So so basically, like I still to this day cannot get my head around how you use an abacus because it's just yeah. I mean, obviously I'm dyslexic, so anything like that, I was like, that just looks. All you've done is move them over there. What the hell? What am I supposed to see with this? Yeah, yeah. I know what an abacus is, but yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's quite amazing, really, within such a short amount of time, just how much. It is quite amazing of just how much time has passed, of how how much technology, like how much technology has changed in a pretty short period of time. Because like I remember when mobile phones, because when I got my first mobile phone, obviously the first mobile phone I had was a Nokia, which was my dad's. It was my dad's. I can't remember the code of it, but my dad's old Nokia, he gave me that. That was my first mobile phone for when I went to middle school. I didn't have one at primary school. It was when I went up to middle school. So my dad bought a new phone, and my dad gave me his old phone. So that was my first mobile phone. The first mobile phone I was bought was the Nokia 3310. So looking at it in that way, that the mobile phones I had, the first two mobile phones, all you could do was play Snake, which was awesome. All you could do was play Snake, text message, phone calls. That was it. And then a couple of years later, I got another phone, which was the very first Nokia camera phone. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the code of it, but actually, what the code it went with, but it had a camera in it. So that was the first camera phone I had. And I think the first mobile phone I bought myself was the Motorola Razr, which again was when I went up to. It was when I was at. Yeah, it was when I was at middle school, but it was a few years into middle school. So because I think you're at middle school for about 3 years, and then you move up to big school. So it was when I was at middle school when I had the Razr, I think. But yes, it's quite surprising. It's quite scary just how much technology has changed from the 90s when it was still pretty primitive to now. You know, it is quite. I mean, it's only been about 30 odd years, 30 odd, 35, around about 30 to 35 years, depending on whenever it was released or that specific thing was released. But it's only been about 30 to 35 years, which, if you think about it in the long run, 30 to 35 years is not that much amount of time. But in that time, from the 90s when I was at school, when I was at school and right through to now, it was it's quite surprising of just how much technology in that time frame. You had touchscreen on mobile phones. Phones are now a pocket computer. They're not a phone anymore. They are literally just a computer in your pocket all the time. You've got 4K, you've got 5K resolution. You've got um you yeah. Video games are now it looks like you're playing a movie. You know, the graphics on video games now, it looks like you're literally playing a real person because it's so ultra realistic, like real life environments, like even down to the weather in video games. It's just incredibly clever. Fluff and Busters says, good afternoon, all. Hope you all are well. I'm well, thank you. Hope you're well, my friend. Uh, Tony says, no, the red ring of death was caused by overheating. The later 360s had more thermal paste, so it wouldn't happen again. Ah, I see. Okay. Fluff and Busters, you are not alone. We had BBC Micro and Master System computers at school. What the hell? Commodore and Spectrum were both tapes. Right, yeah, okay. A few computers, Fluff and Buster says, a few computers used cassettes. My Spectrum Plus was one of them. Okay. Also, the C64 had cartridge and floppy as well as cassette. Oh, right, okay. Alpha says Crash Bandicoot was my favourite PS1 game. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. You know what? I mean, I remember Crash Bandicoot, and I remember playing GTA, the first GTA game, Grand Theft Auto. There's plenty of games I played on the PS1, but I just can't remember them that well. I remember certain things, but I don't remember them. Oh, Beast Wars. Yeah, just remember the game on the PS1. Transmetals, Beast Wars Transmetals, the game. It was shit, but I had that on the PS1. Yeah, the PS2 could. Yeah, the PS2 was backwards compatible with PS1. Yeah. Well, I don't think I actually played many PS1 games on the PS2 though. I think when the PS2 came out, I just played PS2 only and played DVDs on it because the PS2, of course, was the first multimedia system where you could play games and you could play DVDs on it, and also you could play music through it as well with a you could put CDs in it and stuff. Fluff and Busters, good luck catching the stream up, John. Yeah, this is. I'm actually getting through it quite well, actually, at the moment. I'm actually moving on through, boogieing. Alpha Prime. I remember when the PS2 came out, and GTA 3 was fantastic. Spent so many hours playing it. Oh yeah. Oh, GTA 3. Oh, what a fun game. My favourite GTA games have always been San Andreas and Vice City. San Andreas and Vice City are my favourites. They were both, I think, on the PS3 as well. Oh, was one of them on the PS2? I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, San Andreas and Vice City. Because the reason why them two are my favourite GTA games is because I spent endless hours on those games, perched on top of buildings, perched right on top of buildings, snipering, putting the cheat codes in, just going to town. And I remember one time I remember getting the legendary extra star, wanted level star. So basically, I had all the stars. I had SWAT coming at me. I had everybody coming at me, and then I had the secret star that came in when they bring in the military. So I was fending off, perched on top of this building. I don't know how I survived, but I managed to survive about 3 hours in this skirmish. And I was basically against the army, riot police, regular police, and the odd pissed off person. I Oh man, the amount of hours I had. Fluff and Busters, Sir Clive Sinclair was so annoyed the Spectrum was being used for games and not science that he tanked his games department and killed his computer business. Bloody Nora. Nokia 5110. Ah, that might have been it, yeah. Smizno, my teachers used to say, you won't have a calculator on you all the same. Now I have a supercomputer with me all the time. Yep, that is true. A mobile phone is now an office in your pocket. It is. Soundwave Tony says going from SNES to Mega Drive to PS1 was like going the invention of flight to landing on the moon. Now the PS4 going to PS5 is like getting the next iPhone. Yeah. Fluffy is there a dream console that you'd love to pick up second hand along with its library? Oh, there's a couple of them that I've always wanted to own and I've never had. An N64 is up there. The Nintendo 64 has always been a console I've always wanted to buy into or get one. I never had one as a kid. I'd love an N64. A second option would be the GameCube. I'd always wanted the GameCube. And another one. I don't know. I think they're my two. I've got a Mega Drive now. I bought. This is going back a fair few years. This is going back maybe about 5+ years ago now. But I secondhand off of eBay. I bought myself a Sega Mega Drive. I never had the Mega Drive. I only had the Master System as a kid. So I got myself a Mega Drive, and so I've got an old Mega Drive. It should still be working. I haven't played on it for a while, but I think the two systems I really wanted as a kid that I never had were the GameCube and the N64, which are both relatively quite simple and quite easy to track down. They're not too expensive. You can pick one up in good working order for about between 50 to 100 quid for a system, depending of what type of the system it is, because you've got different variations that are pretty rare, like different N64 cases and stuff. But we'll see how it goes. But I would say they're definitely my top two. Soundwave Tony says playing DVDs and CDs and PS1 games made the PS2 the best-selling console of all time. Yep, it generally was. And the last comment, Adam. Yes, Adam, you didn't have faith in me. You said good luck, and I just went through pretty much about 20 minutes to half an hour of conversation in about 10 minutes. Booyah! Booyakasha! As Beast Boy once said. Anyway. Alpha Prime says, agree with you on Vice City and San Andreas. They were awesome. Oh man, the cheat codes, had them written down on a piece of file paper, folded up inside the game case. Yeah, I did the exact same thing. Every time a Grand Theft Auto game came out, I always looked up online for a cheat code sheet. And I would print the sheet out, or I would just write them down myself to save on ink and paper in the printer, because my dad would go ballistic at me if I ever used the printer for something like that. Anyway, but yeah, so I just, yeah. But man, the cheat codes, I know people are like, well, you're not playing the game properly. No, you're not playing the game properly, because the whole point is you don't put cheat codes in when you're trying to play a game properly. I have never completed a single Grand Theft Auto game, ever. I have not completed any of them. I never completed GTA 1. I never completed GTA 3. I never completed Vice City or San Andreas. I haven't even completed GTA 5, the latest one. Well, before the new one comes out, whenever that comes out. GTA 6. Uh, yeah. So so basically, I have never completed a single Grand Theft Auto game. I've always started off the campaign, got to a certain point, and then I will just free roam for hours. I will just because on some of the games you have to play the campaign enough to unlock certain features so that you can properly free roam. And basically, so that's what I would do. I'd play up to a certain amount, and then a certain point in the story, and then I would just completely detour. And I wouldn't, and I completely think, right, I need to complete this game now. But I end up getting so enthralled in creating such chaos and pretty much like a downtown war zone. It's like, yeah, just yeah. So I would just have. I've never completed a single Grand Theft Auto game ever because it's the same with Doom, the new Doom game that came out for the PS4. The first of the remake of the Doom games, because there's three of them now, isn't there? There's Doom, then there's the second one that came out, and then there's is it Dark Ages, which is the latest one. But it's the same with the remake of Doom. I have not completed that game. Reason for that, I cannot stop rocking out to the soundtrack. As soon as the soundtrack kicks in, I am like, yeah, I can kill demons today. I can do it. And then I just like lose concentration and I'm headbanging when with the no hair I have to headbang with, but I still headbang and I just like, right, shit, I forgot to complete this. Mm. Yeah, yeah. I expect this on future stream. Yes, Adam. Yes, Dad. Love you, Adam. Alpha Prime. It was just so much fun going on GTA and messing about. Loved it. Yep, exactly. I remember spawning a tank, driving down the streets, blowing everything away. Yeah, I was the same. Yeah, I had the cheat for the. It was like a military helicopter. It had like rocket launchers on it and stuff. The tank cheats. I had the invincible that like basically nobody could kill you. Oh, my favorite cheat was exploding bullets. The exploding bullets cheat was one of my favorites. Uh, I remember what I remember. Right, I activated my invincibility, so basically I couldn't be killed. So I activated that first, put the cheat in for exploding bullets, and I just went on for the next 3 or 4 hours with just a single handgun, shooting everything that came near me. Just with a single bullet, boom, helicopter gone. Boom. It was just 3 or 4 hours just with a handgun because exploding bullets, you only needed one bullet to blow everything up, So it was like boom, 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 gone. Yeah, so much fun. Ah, God, is that just looking at the time here? It's not even been quite an hour since I started, and it sort of feels like I've been longer than an hour on the stream. But it's I'm literally, according to this, I'm about to turn 1 hour going live. Just bear with me again, folks. I will be back in like a minute. I just need to nip to the toilet. I'll be back in like 1 minute. Okie dokie. Just muting everything for now, and then I'll be back in one moment. I am back. Sorry about that, folks. Had to use it was the call of nature. So, oops. Right. Andy Prime says GTA San Andreas was fun. I remember using a jetpack, flying over the top of the map and then getting shot down. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I remember doing that. Fluff and Busters says, so are you dropping everything for the next GTA game, or is it a course of find out which systems/consoles it will be available on first? I think it'll be on PlayStation. I think it will be on PS5. It will be a bit daft if it isn't going to be on PS5 when it first launches. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna wait. It is that much of an anticipated game. I really want to get GTA 6. However, I'm probably going to wait on it. See if there is any bugs, any problems with how it runs. I did that with Cyberpunk 2077. When the Cyberpunk game came out, it was pretty much incomplete. There was a lot of bugs. It was unplayable, really. You couldn't really play on it. You couldn't play properly with it. So, unfortunately, I decided. Well, I never bought it on launch. I never bought it brand new on launch. So I waited, and then I think I got it like about a year or so after it came out, and it was all the bugs had been fixed, and it was much more playable as a result. So I always wait on it first, wait for the first impressions when it first comes out. If there's any bugs, any updates needed for the game, and then I'll update it. And then I'll eventually, if it's any good, I will pick it up and I will get the patch updates for it and stuff. Yeah, it's usually how I roll with most stuff like that. Henry says, "Sorry, John. I have to go. It's gone 2:30 a.m. here. Take care." Yeah, no worries. Thanks for popping on, Henry. Be nice to chat with you. Take care of yourself. But yes, I hope everyone's well. Has anybody got any specific plans for the weekend at all? Are you going to go and see a film? I recommend seeing Masters of the Universe, the new Masters of the Universe. I recommend that film. That is absolutely fantastic. And if you're still watching, Adam, I know it's only just come out. You won't be able to do it just yet because of spoilers and everything. But I do think probably some point in the pipeline on your channel, the Fluff and Busters, talking about films. I think the 2026 Masters of the Universe might be a really good shout for a discussion because it's such a good film. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to go into spoilers. I won't spoil it for you. But if you haven't seen the 2026 Masters of the Universe, please go and support this film. Please go and see it. It is so fun. I have not had so much fun going to see a film at the cinema for the longest time. The last time I had a really good experience seeing a film was Endgame, Avengers Endgame. That was the last time where it was a really good audience. The people in my screening was really, really good. It was a really good environment, really good atmosphere. People were laughing to the jokes. People were having a really good time. And there was quite a number of people in our screening when we went to see it. And everybody was laughing along. Everybody seemed to understand the references being said. Everything. And it's just Travis Knight. I really wish Travis Knight had much more creative. I wish Travis Knight had that much creative freedom when he did Bumblebee. Because, don't get me wrong, Bumblebee, the Transformers movie, I love that film. It's probably, for me, it's one of my favourite of the live actions. But you can see his hand was forced in certain aspects because he still had to perform the film in the Michael Bay type esque feeling. And I feel his hand was tied a little bit when it came to the character designs, when it came to the execution of the film, because the whole idea of that film was it was supposed to sort of be a prequel or precursor film to the 2007 film. Because at the end of Bumblebee, he sees that Corvette that he is in the '07, and he scans it, and then he drives off with Optimus Prime, and that's basically leads on into the '07 film. So I honestly think Travis Knight, if he had full creative control, or was given the option, or was able to do another film in the future, live action Transformers film, and he had that level of freedom like he has for Masters of the Universe, I think that film could have been literally the best one we've ever had. Because the sequences he put together on Cybertron, the Cybertron sequences in Bumblebee are the best sequences we've had for a live action film. The designs for the characters were on point. Wheeljack looked like Wheeljack. RC looks like RC. Optimus looked badass. Soundwave was incredible. Soundwave functioned like Soundwave out the animation, out the cartoon. He had Ravage. Ravage came out of his chest. I was just like, you had Shockwave, you had the Seekers, you had everything in the background. It was incredible. And I just think with Masters of the Universe, he obviously had so much strength. He had so much creative power and to do that movie, to the point where you can tell he's a fan. Because since seeing the film, I've watched some of his interviews. Travis Knight being interviewed since the film came out, and basically he just, excuse me, but no, Travis Knight in interviews since I saw the film, you can tell he's a fan. He loves He-Man. He loves Transformers. He's an '80s kid. You know, he grew up with the '80s stuff, and I generally think that Travis Knight is a really great storyteller. You know, because obviously he's the guy in charge at Leica Animation as well, with the stop motion animation company. And he's made films. He's contributed and made films like Paranormal, Coraline, Box Trolls. What is it? There's another one. Anyways, but you know, so if for a person that can tell a story, if you can tell a really captivating story with puppets, then you've got a future. Because it's very difficult. It's probably one of the hardest mediums to ever really get some kind of true human emotion out of a puppet, and he can do that. And so yeah, I have every faith in Travis Knight. So please go and check out Masters of the Universe. It's so much fun. They nailed it, I think. I mean, I'm not a hardcore. I will just go on the record here, and I am live. I'm not a hardcore He-Man fan. All right. Out of all the other '80s cartoon franchises, or any of the other franchises that have come out since, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is my least favourite out of all of them. Transformers is my top. G.I. Joe is up there as well. TMNT and so on. And but He-Man is probably pretty low when it comes to. I'm not a huge hardcore fan, but somebody like me that is not a huge hardcore fan of Masters of the Universe or He-Man, I still got so much from that film. I still got so much from that film. I understood the references. I understand the meme stuff that was done. I understand everything that was being thrown at us. I thought the casting choices were good. I thought Skeletor was incredible. I thought it was just a great balance of seriousness and a little bit of wackiness that you will come to expect from the 80s cartoon. It was such a good film. I really loved it. Anyway, let's get caught up with the comments here. Alpha Prime says, "Is your bruv from another move coming round later?" Question. You guys always make me hungry when you cook. I don't know. I haven't heard from him yet, so we usually meet up on a Saturday night. We'll see how it goes. We usually meet up anytime from 6 onwards in the evening is usually when we start to think about meeting up if we do it. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it might be. But I haven't heard out from him yet. Andy Prime got Avatar: Fire and Ash. Okay, I haven't watched that yet. I haven't seen that film. I've seen the first Avatar film, but I haven't seen the second one. Is that the new one, Fire and Ash? Yeah, it's the new one, isn't it? I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen one Avatar, so I've seen the first Avatar. I need to check out the second one, and I need to check out the new one as well. Busters, editing all weekend, but we'll see the Masters Universe film next week, and we'll certainly consider it for a future episode. Sweet. Awesome. The fact that many of us know a member of the crew on this film, Isa, was cool. Oh, really? I didn't realise she was on there. I didn't even notice her name in the credits, to be quite honest with you. I didn't even know she was a part of it. And yeah, Travis Knight got shortchanged, on Bumblebee. He needed an extra action scene, but also it was released on the very worst weekend. Yep, very true. Sorry, don't get me started on Bumblebee Injustice. Yeah. Yeah, I think Travis Knight, a lot of people kind of, I see a lot of, let me try and get my words together. Travis Knight is, for me, probably of the current filmmakers or storytellers, I think he's probably one of the most important people in the industry right now that is still active, that is still relatively quite young, and is constantly putting out. Every film he brings out is a banger. He reminds me of like a young version of Spielberg back when he was in his prime. When Spielberg was in his prime, I'm not saying Spielberg still can't make a good film, he can, but I think he's hit a bit of a slump in his creativity in like later years. But I'm a big Spielberg fan. I love Spielberg. But the fact is, I think Travis Knight, you could argue this. Some people might not agree with my ideology, but I'm just saying that I think Travis Knight is probably kind of this generation's, or the new generation Spielberg when he was in his prime, when he kind of, everything Spielberg made back when he was in his prime, it was just turned to gold. Travis Knight, he needs more support behind him. He needs to have full creative control of the project he's working on because he gets it. He gets it. He's a fan. He's an 80s kid. He played with these toys as a child. He played with He-Man toys. He played with Transformers toys. God knows whatever else he played with when he was, but that came out wrong. But, God knows whatever toy he played with. Even again, worse. Anyway, I'm going to move swiftly on before I get told off by Adam. But you get my point. I'm trying to make is he's a special case, Travis Knight. I mean, I'm a big fan of Leica animation. I'm a big fan. That's it. Kubo and the Two Strings was the other one by Leica. There's a new one coming out as well. Um, when you go and see Masters of the Universe, there's a trailer attached to that film, and it's a trailer for the new Leica film. That looks absolutely incredible. The feat of detail that has gone into the sequences in that film, and it's all stop motion, not CGI. Yes, they use a little bit of CGI touch up, but it is all hand performed. They are all puppets. It is all done with a human operator. So it's all officially stop motion. They use a little bit of touch up CGI in parts, mostly because some stuff well, if you look at the behind the scenes of a Leica, because when you see a Leica film in the end credits, they usually do like a little bit like they usually do like little behind the scenes, little like how it was made, sort of little featurettes as the end credits go by, and you see kind of like a certain sequence being animated. You see the person doing all the operating and everything. So that proves to you that it was all done by hand. And then they just, for editing purposes and to make it all flush in with everything else going on, they use a little bit of CGI touch up, but it's so, you can hardly tell, you know. But yeah, Leica animation, the stuff that has come out from Leica is very unique. The character designs of the puppets is very unique. It reminds me of a little bit like Tim Burton's works. Very like, if you see a stop motion film that's been made that has got Tim Burton's name on it, they are very interesting, very unique designs to the characters. And when I look at Leica animation, I get a sense of Tim Burton, but at the same time, it's not Tim Burton. It's totally not. You can tell it's not. But the stories that they make, like Paranormal, sorry, Paranorman is one of my all-time favorites. That film is incredible. That film is just incredible. Absolutely gorgeous. Kubo and the Two Strings. Some of the sequences in Kubo and the Two Strings is probably been said as, how the hell did they do that in stop motion? Because there's some sequences in that film that are just out of this world. How they managed to do that with just a simple person doing frame by frame by frame by frame movements, it's just so incredible. Yeah, and there's Leica. So yeah, there's a new Leica film coming out, and it's the trailer to it's attached to Masters of the Universe. So keep an eye out for that when you go and see it at the cinema. If you do, go do it. Yes. Alpha Prime. Well, definitely been checking out Masters of the Universe. I am the same as you. Not a massive fan of the cartoon back in the day, but the new movie looks great. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan at all. I don't get me wrong. I'm not completely hating on He-Man. I appreciate it for what it is and for what it was. I do like He-Man and Masters of the Universe. I like the characters, but for me, when I was a kid, when I first discovered it, because obviously it got reruns back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, it would have reruns through the 90s and then obviously there was the 2002 series as well. They did like a remake of the cartoon. I think it was like back in 2002. And I think, was that the series where Gary Chalk plays Man at Arms? I might be getting mixed up because there's a couple of cartoon series over the years. But anyway, so basically I watched the reruns of He-Man, and I liked it, but at the same time, compared to other stuff that I watched, it just didn't really captivate me as much as other things. But if I can get a lot of enjoyment out of this film, as not a hardcore fan of that franchise or that property, then anybody can. It's one of those films where the general everyday moviegoer that has absolutely no idea what He-Man is, or maybe does but doesn't know anything about it, like the backstory of it or whatever, they're gonna get a lot of enjoyment from it because there's a lot of good elements to it. And then He-Man fans are gonna get a lot of it because there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of stuff that will really make a hardcore fan happy. And then there's also those that grew up at a time with memes, with the whole He-Man memes, um, which I remember them very much back in the early days of YouTube and stuff, of making the rounds. Um, they're there as well. So, but yeah, I'm not going to say too much more. Go see it. You'll have an absolute blast. You will have a blast. You really will. Fluff and Busters, I am slightly concerned that I have become the authority figure on this stream. You don't even need to worry, Adam. I have got everything under control. Yay. Fluff and Busters. Sadly, stop motion is becoming a lost art. I heard Disney brought in Phil Tippett to do a stop motion Mando and Grogu, but I doubt many big studios will showcase the art. That is absolutely true. Stop motion is the oldest form of animation. I believe it is the oldest. Stop motion and claymation are, I think, the two oldest mediums of animation. I will completely agree. It is a dying art. There is not many studios that still make stop motion projects. There's only Leica, and I think there's the studio. There's Aardman as well that does Wallace and Gromit. They're still very much active. And then there's another one. I think there's about 3 or 4 studios that are still sort of working on stuff that are still capable of doing them. At one point there was a lot more. Let me just put it this way. I can't remember the name of it, but there is stop motion stuff still being made. Very recently, as of this week, I think it's a film. I don't know if it's a film or a series, but a new animated film or something has just gone up on Netflix, and it's all stop motion. Let me find it on my phone. What it's called? Netflix. See if I can get it up on here. Um, Trying to find it here. Bear with me a second. I'm sure it's on Netflix. It's annoying when you try to find something and you can't bloody find it. Yeah, I can't bloody find it for some bloody reason. It won't come up. I just saw it yesterday when I was looking for something to watch. I was looking for it. Um, God's sake. Drives me bloody crackers when you can't find something. Oh, hang on. How annoying. Can't find it, I'm afraid. It's just not coming up at all, but I did notice it was a recently added thing. I'm sure it's on Netflix. But it looks stop motion to me. It looks like it's all hand done, hand frames. So done frame by frame. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I liked it. Oh yeah, I liked it and watched it, but I just didn't hit the same as Transformers. Yeah, same. Andy Pratt. I hope it gets a sequel with Hodak as the main. Yeah, uh, yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory because there is some people here that haven't watched it, but there is 3 end credit scenes to the film. I'm not going to say what happens, but there's 3 end credit films. You've got a scene just before the credits. Yeah, basically, there's 3 of them altogether. It's 3 of them. So don't go home until all of them have been watched, because one of them's pretty important. Um, well, yeah, 3 end credit scenes for Masters of the Universe 2026. But I'm looking forward. I really do hope. I really do hope they do Travis, because the thing is, I've heard, because obviously this is done Amazon MGM. All right, Amazon now own MGM, the studio MGM. This film is indeed a massive blockbuster. It's at the cinema. However, it is designed to go on streaming. So a lot of people have been bashing it, saying that it's performed poorly in its opening weekend. It hasn't earned much money. However, apparently it has been said that it's working to their advantage, because obviously they're probably this film is actually probably going to do better on streaming. They're probably going to earn much more money on streaming for this movie than they probably. So basically, whatever it earns at the box office when it finally leaves box office, and whatever it earns domestically and also on streaming, I think this film could quite easily make a profit. So there is potentially there could be a sequel. I really do hope they do get a sequel, because Travis Knight deserves to have, or to be able to tell the full story. He deserves to bring us back to this world again, and I would absolutely love to see this world being fully told from start to finish. I don't know how many films it will take, but I really hope he's able to do it. I really do hope. Yeah, we'll see. Fluff and Busters. I think a huge issue is just the target audience. The 80s kids that watched this show back in the day are 40, 50 years. And teens don't care as much. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Um, but to be quite honest with you, yeah, anything that's from the 80s, like kids coming up now, they've got a totally different mindset to when we was a kid. There will there wasn't very many. I will say this: in the screening that I went to, there wasn't many really young people. We were probably the youngest probably among the youngest. Well, yeah, to a degree. Uh, Everybody in our screening was pretty much probably in their forties at least. 40s to, as you said, 50s. There wasn't very many young people in our screening. There wasn't any young kids or anything like that. But to be honest, I would be very, very surprised if there isn't any young kids going to see this because, I mean, I think a young child or a young person would get a lot of enjoyment out of this film as well because you've got Cringer, you've got Skeletor, the action sequences are incredible. Everything about this film is really well balanced for everybody, really. Um, but yeah, as you said, unfortunately, the harsh reality is young people don't have an appreciation like we did when we was a kid. It's this that's killed it. This technology, as the song says, "Video killed the radio star." Yeah, so basically, technology is what's killed it because kids are too busy that or too busy video games or to appreciate cartoons and stuff like we did. Flufferbusters. It's like adults telling me to watch versions of the 1930s, 40s films when I was a kid in the 80s. It's a big gap. Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Yeah, it is a similar thing. Every generation has that. I will agree. Oh, excuse me. One eternity later. um, but agree with Adam Prime that it could easily have a chunk of good sequels. 100%. The Netflix stop motion is from Mexico. That's it. I am Frank Elder. Yeah, yeah. That's the new one. Yeah. I couldn't find it for some reason. So yeah, there is still independent studios that are still making stuff. So it's still, yeah, I will say it is still a dying art. There isn't, but the problem is, it does take a hell. It To make a stop motion movie, it takes probably 2 to 3 times more longer. It's a much more of a longer process compared to something that is hand drawn or something that is done through a computer. It's a much more longer thing because obviously you've got all the puppets need to be made, all the different face plates, things like that. So obviously to get the mouth movements and the face movements, you've got different plates, different faces for the emotion, for emoting. And then you've got the clothing, you've got the puppets, you've got all the rigs, then you've got the sets that need to be built, all that, and that's before you even start shooting and start making it. Then you've got the voice actors and the cast, the script. It's a lot more of a process compared to, I'd say, a lot of anything else, really. So I can understand why a lot of studios probably shy away from going down that road because of how much commitment it takes to make. Um, but yeah, bear with me a moment, people. I'll be back again. Call of Nature. I am back. Okay, Duke. Okay, mate. Got to go, pal. Great hanging out with you. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon. Silver Moon's here. Hello. How are you? Oh no, Adam is in the chat as well. Oh dear, this is only going to go downhill. I want to. I went to film school with a guy who was considered a real talent with stop motion. When he left in 2000, most of the work had moved to kids' TV. He made Bob the Builder move for many years. Wow! So he was one of the animators for Bob the Builder. Wow, I didn't realise that. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I remember there was when I was a kid growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. There was a lot of kids shows that did use stop motion animation. There was lots of them. There was Engie Benji. Does anybody remember that one? Was it Engie Benji? The character was a mechanic. There was Engie Benji where I think it was all stop motion. There was another one called Okie Doke. Does anybody remember that? Okie Doke. Ring the bell. Da, 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 da. I can't remember the lyrics, but you know what I mean. That one. I used to love that. Bob the Builder, of course, when I was really young. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was made with either puppets, as in actual puppets like Thunderbird stuff, and then there was also like, obviously that was back a long way, like back in the 60s, but you know what I mean? There was a lot of that being retelevised over the 90s and 2000s. But I always, from a kid, I think being exposed to that as in children's TV, when they put a lot of care and attention into children's TV shows back when I was a kid in the 90s and early 2000s, they actually put a lot of thought into it. Where there was stop motion, there was hand drawn, there was this, that, and the other. Yeah, they say with Noddy as well. There was Noddy. Back when I was really, really little, I used to watch Noddy and the original Noddy. That was all stop motion as well. Oh, puppets. Excuse me. Don't worry, I have blocked anyone called Sam. Ah. Dear me. Oh. I remember things that go bump in the night with Mr. Bumpy. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think part of it is as well. I understand that it's like kids today have changed, but when I was a kid, everything really had a really good way of like really grasping your attention. There was a couple of things I can't remember. There was a couple of things that didn't really work for me. I tried it, but it just wasn't for me. But for the most part, when I was a kid, you had like Powerpuff Girls, you had Dexter's Lab through Cartoon Network, and then you had stuff that was on Nickelodeon, like Rugrats and so on and so forth. And then you had Fox Kids and Jetix. That was kind of importing a lot of the Japanese stuff and Power Rangers and stuff. Then when Disney Channel launched in the UK, you got all the old Disney stuff coming through as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I was pretty fortunate as a kid to have Sky Digital when Sky first kind of became available. We had it when I was a kid through the 90s and early 2000s, and so I had access to Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and all that. Absolutely incredible, really, really incredible. There was a lot more attention to detail for kids' shows back in like the 80s and 90s and so on. Really was. a lot more attention put to it. Compared to now, it just seems a lot of it seems really crudely done in comparison. I'm not saying everything is bad. There is some really good examples of like recent kids shows, but compared to when I was a kid, it's like night and day. It's like night and day comparison compared to when I was a kid to now. It's yeah, I can understand why kids' attention has gone elsewhere, in my opinion. Uh, oh, and Trapdoor, yes. Oh, Trapdoor, yes. Absolute goddamn classic, Trapdoor. Brilliant. Silvermoon. Buff and Busters. I will say that my parents had the same low opinion of kids TV as we do now. It's a generational thing. Yep, totally agree. Yeah, but my dad. Well, I will say out of my two parents, my mum was a lot more free. My mum was a lot more free spirited, if I can put it in that way. Like me and my mum bonded over animation. It was me and my mum had a thing. Like when a new Disney film came out at the cinema, my mum would take me to go see it. The same with Lion King and Toy Story and all so on and so forth. All the kids, all the TV, all the films, all the films and stuff that me and my mum bonded over films, animated films. My dad has an appreciation for them in a way. My dad thinks they're really clever how they're made, but my dad won't sit down and watch them. My dad is, yeah, my dad's like, this is for kids, not for adults. My dad's very much, you need to grow up, kind of thing. So my dad has never really seen eye to eye with me on the stuff that I watch, especially watching something animated at a young age, an older age. But my mom didn't have a problem. My mom actually kind of, anything that came out that was DreamWorks related, anything Pixar, anything Disney, my mom was a big fan of. And me and my mom had definitely bonded over that. But my dad was, my dad's pretty boring, really, when it comes to stuff to watch. The only thing me and my dad like that's on TV is like Line of Duty, Peaky Blinders. They're the other two things TV show wise that me and my dad both like. And that's it. Sorry, some static on the screen just then. Okay. Hour of Fire, hey chap, just popping in to say hi. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're well. Get smashing that like button, people. Yes, please. Like, share, and subscribe to both Hour of Fire because the guy deserves it, and also why not come and say hello and do it to me too. But yeah. But yes, all good here, my friend. I'm probably going to head off soon because I need to get myself something to eat sorted. And see what's happening later tonight. Because usually on a Saturday evening, I meet up with my good friend Smithy. I don't know what we're doing, if we still are. I don't know. I'm in two minds whether to have a night in, a weekend in this week. You know what I mean? You know when you're in that kind of mood where you don't mind socialising, but you just kind of want to have a week off from it, if that makes sense. I mean, there's no harm in that. There's nothing wrong with that, But yeah, we'll see. I mean, usually it's any time from now until about 8 o'clock is when we usually consider meeting up on a Saturday night. But we'll see. But I might see about finishing this up soon. I mean, I'll probably finish it on 2 hours. I will probably finish this dead on 2 hours because we're only 10 minutes away from 2 hours of me starting the stream. I don't like odd numbers. I like to be even. I've never been a fan of odd numbers. I prefer even numbers. It's just a pet hate of mine. Anything that yeah, I prefer even numbers. Even numbers, not odd numbers. So yeah, I'll try and finish this off in 10 minutes. 2 o'clock, 2 hours. So nice 2 hour stream, and that'll probably do me for this afternoon / evening. It was originally the afternoon. Yeah. So yeah, I was it considering this was a very last minute thing to do. I literally this was a spontaneous thing. I was just potting around the house, put the telly on, couldn't find anything to watch, and I thought, you know what? I haven't done a live stream on this channel for a while. I've been meaning to for a long time, so I thought, why not? Why not? I thought, why not? I've got nothing else to do. A nice chilled out Saturday afternoon / evening. So, yeah, why not? Thanks for the stream, John. No problem. Thank you for the prompts. Thank you for the assistance, as always. Dear old, my second father, Mr. Adam. Oh, he's going to kill me when I see him next. If I do see him some point soon. Who knows? Okay, so what's the next plan for the media rig? You clearly enjoy the mic. Well, to be honest, I know it looks a little bit off position. Hang on, I just spit all over the microphone. That's nice. But no, I know it looks a little bit intrusive with it literally just being right here. It's just trying. I don't have much place to clamp the microphone to. I'm currently clamping it literally to what the drawer that pulls out with the keyboard. So unfortunately, I can only sort of move it to sort of like this position, sort of like that, and just sort of that might actually work, sort of. So I could do it like that. So I can move it a little bit around. I would like to maybe get myself a pop filter, like a little pop filter. I think I've got one somewhere. Let's see if I can. I'm sure I used to have a pop filter. But I would like to put a pop filter over it, just a little one. I don't want a real big one. I just want a small one, like a smaller little pop filter. But to be honest, I am limited to what I can do for the whole audio stream rig. I want to get myself one of them stream decks. I mean, I do have one. My good friend Sam, Triple Zero Firestorm, he got me one for my birthday. Was it for Christmas or my birthday last year? I have set it up. It's on my computer. It's called the Cool Shearer. I don't know if anybody's heard of them in the chat. It's called Cool Shearer. It's a Chinese kind of brand. They're all like generalized, but I don't know if it's compatible with StreamYard, because obviously I use StreamYard. This is StreamYard that I'm using right now to do this stream. I use StreamYard to do my streams. I've personally found it really easy to do. However, I don't pay for StreamYard, hence why right there is a, it says StreamYard in the corner. So I'm using the free version. I don't pay for it. So unfortunately, I don't know whether I can use. I don't know if I can use Stream. I don't know if I can use this like a Stream Deck on the free version or not, or what. I don't know. I don't know if I have to pay for to be able to have access to all the features in order to use the Stream Deck. But I would like to try and see if I can set up the Stream Deck or a Stream Deck so that I can actually I don't have to touch the keyboard. I don't have to do everything manually with the mouse. I can literally just press a button, bring something up that I'm talking about, and then you know what I mean. I want to be. I'd love to be able to do that. Um, just make everything flow nice and professional. So, Andy, what are you hoping to get at TF Nation? Ooh, well, I don't know really. I mean, I would like to get if anybody's got one or got them, because I've been looking online on the different websites like In Demand, Kapow, and so on, and nobody seems to have them up for pre-order, even though they've been released. I'm really hoping they have the YOLO Pack Beast Wars figures or the Beast Wars kits. Currently, Primal and Dinobot are out. They've just announced YOLO Pack Megatron, and I think Black Arachne has been announced as well. So it looks like we're getting the primary core Predacon and Maximals in YOLO Pack model kit form, or we're getting at least a couple of them. So I'm hoping somebody at TFN will have at least the Primal and the Dinobot model kits for YOLO Park. So I'm hoping to pick them up. I still need to pick up. What do I need for? I need to get Swindle. Is Swindle out in time for TFN? Does anybody know? The new Swindle for Bruticus. I've got Blastoff. I've got Onslaught is on pre-order. I have Onslaught on pre-order. I've got Blastoff. Currently I've got two of them. Where? Oh no, I've got Brawl. I think I've got Brawl. I've got Blastoff, and I've got Vortex. So so they're the three that I've got for the new Bruticus Combiner. I've got Onslaught on pre-order. I need Swindle. I think he's the last of the limbs that I need. And then after that, it's Onslaught. So if anybody's got Swindle at TFN, then I'll be picking that up. I know that's not you could just buy that off the shelf, but in Hull, right? In Hull, we do not have majority of the new waves. We do not have barely anything in shops. So unfortunately, I have no choice but to buy my regular Transformers when I go to TF Nation sometimes, or buy them online like everybody else seemed to have to do. But I've pre-ordered Onslaught. I need Swindle, and I've got everybody else. And then after that, I will have the brand new Bruticus! Yay! As for anything else, anything Beast Wars related, anything that I don't own Beast Wars, like normal Beast Wars toys, I would like to pick up some Masterpiece Beast Wars. If I have the money and I can afford to, I would. If anyone has the Beast Wars Masterpiece Megatron or the Dinobot or anything of the Masterpiece Beast Wars, I will definitely be picking up. Anything G1 and so on. Yeah. So basically, whatever catches my eye, really. Raymond, of course, just now got home from work. Hey, nice. From Busters, Adam, I am sorry. I would tell him to stream later, but as you can hear, he clearly ignores my authority. Well, what can I say? This was totally. I usually stream at a later time. I usually stream anywhere from 7 onwards. So basically, yeah, I usually will start a stream about 7 o'clock in the evening. But I was so goddamn bored this afternoon, and I thought, sod it, I don't do streams earlier in the day very often. So I decided to just do it a bit earlier than normal. today, and it's totally last minute, so I didn't even plan to do this. So yeah. Andy Pram. Hull's better than Scunthorpe. Really? There's hardly anything in Hull. Literally, there's nothing in Hull for Transformers. There used to be when Game, the shop Game, they used to sell the odd thing here and there. The Forbidden Planet we have is, I haven't been for a while, so I don't know if they've had a sudden resurgence of stock. I'm gonna have to go and check. But the last time I went in there, they literally had like 3 figures. They had like 3 things Transformers wise. That was it. The only shop we have really, toy shop wise, that has more than normal is Smith's. The Hull Smith's shop, that is literally the only one that actually has a little bit more. We do have another shop that's down, that is like more nearer to where I live. He sells the odd thing in there as well, but to be honest, we barely have any of the current line. We have barely anything of interest to me personally. So yeah, I literally only have the option of buying online, or when I go to TF Nation, buying from TF Nation. That's basically it. Yep, Silvermoon, you already know my feeling on this topic. Yes, we will certainly be coming together, Sam, at some point. Let me know when you're free next from work, and me, you, and whoever else wants to come on, we will do a stream, and we will talk about our thoughts on how difficult it is for being a collector and in the UK, because Hasbro do not see the UK as a viable market. They never have done. We don't get hardly anything in the UK, in shops, in toy shops. Hull is well, to be honest, I think most of the UK is bad, but there is some parts of the UK has more options, more available than we do here. I remember I went to a little bit earlier this year, about a few months ago. I went to Meadowhall in Sheffield, and they certainly had a lot more Transformers availability. They definitely had a lot more Transformers, a lot more of interest. I actually picked up my Back to the Future Gigawatt from there. I went to the Entertainer toy shop. I went there, and they had Gigawatt. The one in Hull, we do not have anything like that. And I also picked up Starscream, the Yellow Part model kit that I just did a review of. Yeah, I got that from there. We don't have that in Hull. So, yeah. Hull really, it depends where you're from. If you're London based, or if you live in London, then you can just go to the Battersea Transformers shop, and you will probably be able to get majority of what you're looking for from there, because that is a dedicated Transformers store, and it's the only one in the world. So, if you're London based, and obviously in London, you have the proper Forbidden Planet as well. We have the copycat shitty one. What I mean by that is, some people probably won't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but there is 2 shops that call themselves Forbidden Planet. You have the official one. So basically, Forbidden Planet that is in London, that is the true Forbidden Planet. And then also you've got the one in Birmingham, I think the one in Manchester, and whatever. Excuse me. But there's a couple of them in the UK that are legitimate Forbidden Planets. But then, like Hull, and a couple of other places, there's another, it says Forbidden Planet, but they are not Forbidden Planet, if that makes sense. They're run. I think they're run by different people. I don't know, but they are the worst of the worst of the ones that are called Forbidden Planet. That's all I can suggest it as. It's just the shit. The one I was really excited that we're finally getting a Forbidden Planet in Hull, and what do we get? We get the copycat intruder instead. Raymond says, at least you UKers have options. Not really. I mean, speaking for someone from where I live in Hull, we don't have that many options whatsoever. We have quite a number of toy shops. We've got the Entertainer. Toys R Us has sort of made a resurgence. Toys R Us got bought out by the people of WH Smith's, and they've kind of like done little pop-up shops, a part of their newsagent shops. Absolutely shit. Literally, it's like 2 aisles. It's not even an aisle. It's like one little area with toys, and there's bugger all there. So it's like a waste of time. The Entertainer shops are abysmal for Transformers toys. There's only Smith's. Smith's is the only one that actually does stock something of the current lines, a little bit. The only options we have is online, like pre-order or eBay or Amazon. That is literally the only options majority of us in the UK have, is to buy online. Unfortunately. Franchises, yeah. Yeah, Forbidden Planet had a really odd senior management split, leaving two companies with the same name. Makes sense. I've had my phone on. Well, sorry about that. Just checking my phone. I think I've had a message off of my mate Smithy. Excuse me. Bloody horror. Graham says, you don't have many options. We in the Netherlands don't have any options. The Smiths I work at have 2 shelves. Our options is to go to conventions if you don't want to go online. So, yeah. To be honest, I think majority anywhere out of the US. I know that Hasbro see the UK not as a viable market when it comes to their toys. When it comes to like mainline toy lines, Hasbro, I've never seen Hasbro as a viable market. Apparently, there's very poor sales. The UK sales on toy sales in the UK is quite low. So that is probably the main reason why, like, actual brick and mortar toy shops or high street shops don't really get a lot of access to main lines, except for maybe Smith's getting the odd thing. But yeah, for me, it is online. Majority of the stuff I buy is online because I can't find it in the wild. As in, I can't find it while going around the shops in Hull. So I have no choice but to try and track it down online, or, as you said, Raymond, go into TF Nation. Most of the stuff that I buy is at TF Nation or pre-order online. That is most of how I get access to most of the stuff that I have. So really, we're not too and far between, really, when it comes to availability. Well then, guys, I'm gonna get going now. Um, and I think I might be meeting up with people tonight. So I'm gonna get going. I just want to say very quickly before I do go, shout out to everybody that has been a part of the stream. So thank you to Sammy Skullgrin. Thank you to Sammy. Thank you to Mr. Joshua's Prime. Thank you to Henry. Thank you to Graham Collector 75. Thanks to Sam. Thanks to Tony. Thank you to you, Adam, of course. Thank you to Alpha Prime. Thank you to Smizno. Thank you to Andy Prime. Thank you to, of course, Sam Silvermoon. Thank you to Arrowfire. And of course, thank you to you, Raymond. Yep, so thank you to everybody that has joined me on this last minute stream. It has probably been the best chat I've had talking about geeky stuff for quite a while. I've very much enjoyed this stream. I've really enjoyed our little conversations, talking about a mixture of different things, talking about toys, talking about films, talking about whatever. So I just want to say thank you very much indeed for joining me this evening, or this afternoon, this now evening. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon and evening last minute with me talking about nonsense. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend. And I shall be back very soon. I want to try and do more streams more often. I'm gonna try because I like doing these streams. I've missed doing streaming, so I will see about doing some more streams a bit more often. But yeah, check out my channel if you haven't done so already. Like, share, and subscribe to me here on TF Nosey. If you don't know, if you're interested, check out my Nosey Vlogs channel as well, my second channel, where I do vlog related stuff. So yeah, so check me out on YouTube. I'm on social media as well. I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, of course, and Facebook, all under TF Nosey. Look me up on social media. I am all over there. So check me out, and thank you for the continued support, and thank you for any new support as well. Thank you. Take care. See you soon. Big thank you to everyone, and not named Sam. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.